Good morning, video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games hosted by three very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tommy Dassolo, and with me, as always...
It's Ben Vanel here, Tommy, and joining me on the couch with one buffer space in between us, as usual. Do you guys ever... Oh, Adam Knox.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever do that thing where you go to the cinema with mates and you leave a buffer seat?
Not with friends.
Yeah, no,
I
I heard it as like a thing that like dudes would do.
If
but
you're booking them, I will try to book with a buffer seat in between the next group over.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
If possible.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. But no, like I always heard, like I guess as a teen, like guys would be like, "No, I'm not sitting next to you. I have a buffer seat."
Huh. Well, I had a bunch of confident, comfortable friends.
I love being packed
Never
in.
needed a buffer seat with my friends because I was sitting in the same seat as them.
Whoa.
Just me.
Oh.
I was on
It's
a...
way less
We weren't that good
lascivious than I
No.
thought it was.
I was on a flight overseas a few years ago, and I was in the middle seat, and I had an older like couple, like man and woman, either side of me, and
Ooh.
they like sit down, and I'm like, "Oh, do you
Their
guys?"
names were Mum and Dad.
He's pulled back, and then I'll be damned, he's revealed.
Guess who was driving the bus?
And I was like, "Oh, do you guys want to? Does one of you want to take the middle and be next to each other?" And they were like, "No." And then they proceeded to talk to each other, pass
God,
stuff back and
boy.
forth to each other over me.
I would have been
And
fucking calling the attendant.
Did
It
you
was-
watch this movie on like the set of a Seinfeld episode or something? It's a situation that I do not believe.
Yeah.
Was and then a friend who's a travel agent told me that what it is that that's a common, if couple flying together, book window and aisle.
Oh,
the
this is on
thinking
a
that-
plane.
This is on a plane, yeah.
Sorry, I was still in a movie theater in my head. So
Yeah, when you said in this movie, I was like, dude, this is my real life.
Yeah.
yeah, sorry. I thought we were watching a
I thought
film.
you literally just misspoke.
No.
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
No,
God,
no,
language is so adaptable.
It makes. Is there a Mr. Understood? It makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
But still not much
Still
sense.
weird.
Why would they not want to...
Because that's a move if you're a couple. Book aisle, book window, leave the middle. Who traveling by themselves is going to book the middle? So you're a big chance of getting the row to yourself. And I hadn't booked the middle. I had just left it to just be, because it was like an hour-long flight or whatever.
And of course, automatically it'll want to fill all the rows.
Exactly, yeah. And so, but
Okay,
if,
the algorithm tries to create thruples wherever possible.
yeah, exactly. But if like
And you're always trying to corrupt our kids.
if you make that if you try that move to get the row to yourself, and then you don't, and then just a random comes along,
gotta cut your
obviously
losses.
you've got to be like,
Yeah.
oh hey, do you want the window
Yeah.
or the aisle, and we'll sit next to each other. But then even if you're an older couple, the spark's not there, but they were just like,
Yeah, I was
and they
gonna
were like
say, yeah.
bickering. They were like, but one of them was getting food and not finishing and like passing it back
Oh
and
my
forth.
God.
It was just non-stop.
That's illegal. I would have conducted a citizen's arrest.
Yeah.
You would have been one of those people who someone up the back of the plane is filming flipping out on a plane.
But then I would have been like, no, listen, they booked seats either side of me, and then everyone would have been like, and applaud me.
Let's
Yeah.
tear this plane apart.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
so annoyed by this behavior. I had my iPad out. I was watching The Sopranos at the time, and the lady in the couple was just like looking at watching my screen the whole time, no headphones on or anything. And I was so annoyed by everything else about them that I was like, there was a moment where I was about to I felt the only bit of power I could salvage back would have been to just turn to her and go, can you not look at my fucking screen? I was just so, that impotent rage of just
Yeah.
what do I have available to me that I
No.
can leverage here?
I actually don't know impotent rage. Flight-wise, we're at the point in the year, if the year were a flight,
Yes.
where everyone's kind of asleep. They've turned the lights off. You don't know what movie to watch next. You've already watched two. I'm saying we're mid-flight.
Yep. We're at the point
And
where
we're about to brawl, I guess.
yeah,
That's how I would phrase it.
we're at the point in the flight where you've taken it's a long flight. You've
Yeah.
taken off. You've had lunch just after takeoff, and then they start to kind of
That's a bit weird because I've flown out at 9 p.m. So,
well,
Well,
this is my point.
they're getting you adjusted to the new time zone.
no, I'm going to Sydney.
This is what I mean. They split the difference of the time zones.
Right.
You get lunch when you get on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, 2 hours later, here's dinner.
Yeah.
Because we've immediately recalibrated to where we're going.
I love that shit.
I hate it.
No, and I would take it from this year because so far, video game wise, it's been good meals. There's been a fair few good meals.
Yeah,
show
we've
up.
been eating.
Ooh, we're eating.
We're
Oh,
eating.
we're serving cunt. that's what they say. The kids
And then we're
say
eating.
that
Yeah.
you're eating and that you're serving. But we thought it's July here. The sleigh bells are ringing in reverse. It's Christmas in July.
Yes,
So time
yes.
to take a little pause,
Time to celebrate.
look back, take in, take stock,
Yep.
and look forward maybe a little bit.
Read a few jokes out of the Christmas crackers.
Yeah, a bit of fun. Wear the
Yeah,
crown for a while,
yeah.
but it tears because my head's big.
Yeah, same. I got such a big head.
My head's quite big too. I don't know the circumference of it off the top of my head, but I know it in the middle.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the in-flight entertainment is cancelled. We're just listening to this guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
we're
it's,
looking at the first half of the year.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the year. It's time to think about reflecting on the 6 months that we've had so far and then wait for 3 weeks and do it then, near the end of July.
Yeah, we're definitely maybe a little late with this, but
Look, January doesn't count.
No.
game-wise, it kind of fucking did, but July kind of didn't.
Yeah,
Pikmin's
yeah.
been out, but we're having a pre-record a couple of days, so we're
Tommy's going away for a while, if you know what I mean.
Tommy's getting on one of those real-life planes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To live out the dream.
He's going to rehab, everyone.
Yeah, I'm going on a health retreat.
Yeah.
That'd be a good move, just saying to people, yeah, I'm going to rehab, and actually I'm just in Vietnam having a fun time.
Yeah.
You do the reverse.
I think
I
you
want
would
people
need
to think
to-
I'm cool.
You're doing the opposite of rehab, if anything. This is more
Yeah,
like
true.
that you will come
You'll
back
be
from this needing to go to rehab.
Sinking
Yeah,
a few
true.
beers. Too many.
Hey, do you guys know, you guys remember Xander Allen?
Yeah.
Friend of ours who used to do stand-up?
Yeah.
He's over there in Vietnam at the moment.
Oh.
And I was messaging him. I was like, I'm going to be there in a week. He's like, oh, yeah, it's been really, really great, da-da-da. And I was like, any recommendations? And he just wrote back, you don't need a prescription for Valium. I'm like, well, not. I meant like, sights to see or like restaurants. Not like, I'm aware that most parts of Asia you can get,
Turn your fridge to medium coldness because then you save a bit of energy. What was that ad for Pizza Hut that had the tip thing? Oh, yeah, put the brake on your car and his car rolled away. Anyway, I want to talk about games, you bastards.
So do
Okay.
I.
Because, it's been a heck of a year in some respects so far, to the point where I realized we forgot to write down, we've got a whiteboard in the corner where we wrote a bunch of games. We forgot to write down a massive one in May. Have a guess.
Oh, this is a good...
Oh.
This is a good guessing game because also the audience can't see the whiteboard.
It's like Burjo's
so they don't know
catchphrase,
what's
but
on
no
it.
one can see the TV screen.
Okay, we're not moving on until we
May
remember
game.
what we forgot to write
It's
down.
a
in
recent
May.
game. It's possibly
Is
the
it from
biggest
May?
game of
you
the year.
God damn, you're right.
Yeah, Tommy's got it. It's Ben. Time to if you can't get it, then the whole family gets to feud. I believe is how that works.
Something like that.
Not
yeah.
Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
It is that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we've written that down on the board, just not in May, I guess.
I don't think we have.
Well, it's in February because we got a little bit more of a look at it in the Nintendo Direct.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think the idea
But
with the
you're right.
whiteboard was that it would sort of, seamlessly just kind of jog our memories. Not that we would specifically
having your
refer
notes
to-
make it like put a brake on your ability to be able to recall things.
Now, everyone, just wait. I'll change to the next cue card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If every talk show host was like, now, my producer wrote this down for me to ask you. Who would you turn gay for?
should we turn back to Rovla? Should we? What order do you want to do this in? Now, chronological is the traditional.
Yeah.
Go back to January, cast our minds back,
Or do we start in July/June? Because that's
roll back.
Most
you
recent,
roll backwards,
go
most
back.
recent. We'll just skim over the
Four.
recent. You don't want to end on. Oh, I just
Oh,
played Final Fantasy last week.
We talked about Dave Diver recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think starting with where we are right now and working our way backwards.
I've got an idea.
Okay.
I've got one word for you guys. We do this Tenet style.
That was so many words.
Yeah.
Well, the one word is Tenet.
Why'd you say the other?
But then you made it Tenet style.
We do this
hyphenated.
Tenet
Yeah, I lost faith in the pitch.
I've got 5 words for you. Tenet.
I got 5 letters for me. Hello.
My point being, Adam, you start in June. Ben, you start in January.
And we'll fight.
The simplest concept we've ever had. Look back at the year. Impossible to follow.
Yeah, let's do. So June, we've recently been playing some Final Fantasy 16. Nox, you're enjoying it still?
I'm still. I intend to finish it. I want to get through. Because I am liking it. The pacing of it has been my major thing.
Quibble?
That is, and it like I'm good at sinking into a game. Good at it, but I enjoy it. Playing for hours and losing track of time and all of that. But the slow pace of it has really led to me getting kind of bored.
Yeah, right.
While I'm playing
I gotta
it at
say,
times.
it's my big disappointment of the year so far.
Tommy's big disappointment of the year.
Big disappointment.
I guess it'd go big disappointment.
Yeah.
Just to sort of.
I guess it probably is mine as well, come to think of it. Like, I was very excited for it. It looked fantastic. The demo was fun.
Yeah, the demo was
great. The story
great.
was set up so well there, and then it's a little simplistic for me, and I don't find the story too interesting.
It's this year's God of War Ragnarok for me, where
same.
really hyped for it going in, liking the beginning of it. There's nothing really, I think, fundamentally wrong with it. It's a very high quality, polished product that I have just switched off with at a certain point. But at the same time, a lot of people that we see in the Facebook and Discord and just other people I know, friends of mine,
friends of the show
that consume games in a very different way to how we do here,
right,
are having a good time, right? If it's your thing that you've bookmarked the next 2 months, every couple nights I'm going to chip away a bit after work. People that are consuming it in that way are liking it a lot more, and so I do accept that there's just something about the way that we, play a lot for this podcast and stuff that is probably influencing me being a bit checked out of it. But
that makes sense because I've been chipping away at it and have been enjoying it that way. And I really like the combat, especially it is a flaw in it where I think it gets better the further in you get the combat. So, you kind of have to trudge through the bit where it's less engaging, but I've been finding that getting better and better and more interesting to me. But yeah, the story's fine.
Yeah. There were two things that I kind of read elsewhere or had sparked in my own mind 2 points I wanted to make about it. I think if a game is 40 hours long and 20 hours of it are no good or are not up to standard, it's a bad game, or it's not. It's that's enough.
It's enough to definitely,
especially if the second half is the good bit. That's a hell of
It's
a
a big
time
ask.
investment for something.
Final Fantasy 13 had that where,
and that was the other point was that a lot of the, not defense, but the sort of people were saying it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy game, and then the retort is often 13 was extremely linear, and the setting of 12 is familiar. I think 13 is a terrible game, widely criticized, widely disliked, again by Final Fantasy fans. So I feel like it's not a good thing to point that out.
Well, and I think you'll get the same thing where you do get your Final Fantasy 13 defenders who are it gets better at this point or whatever.
Right.
And I think that is also the case with 16. But yeah, it's a perfectly valid reason to be well, this doesn't interest me at the point that I'm up to and I've given it a sincere go. But yeah, I'm still enjoying plugging away at that.
And yeah, I'm the shake-up of it is probably the thing that I like the most. I love that they went for it. I love that they had the confidence to just kind of throw out everything that they think that people think of Final Fantasy should be. I love all that stuff of it. So to be clear, I'm not critical on it because I have this grand idea of what this game should be, that it's broken. I just, I still feel the same as what I said when we reviewed it that first week. It's just, I just wish there was just one more element in there of gameplay, of maybe a bit more exploration or a little bit more of something to do in between the story and the cutscenes and the combat.
Yeah.
And yeah, just I was pumped for a big budget blockbuster PS5 exclusive, which we're still a pretty thin on the ground.
It is funny how this does rhyme with Ragnarok pretty much exactly how all three of us.
Yeah. Because I think I agree. It's not like poorly made. It's so polished. It's clearly like so much thought and attention to detail and stuff has been put into it. I think it's just a matter of taste.
Yeah.
I could
I'm
see
saying
this.
yum yum still. Ben's saying not for me, and Tommy's saying like, I wish it had some tomato sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Speaking of food, I played Dave the Diver. Didn't like it.
Okay.
I think I'm medium and Tommy hot as well. So yeah, mild, spicy, tepid.
Yeah. I think it was aesthetically. I just don't. It was annoying. I found it annoying.
Sure. This is fun doing it backwards because now we get our hot takes out of the way.
Yeah.
Mid-year hot takes when we're feeling the winter's making us grumpy.
We're going to also talk too about stuff that we've kind of missed that we want to get around to.
Yeah.
And I can see Final Fantasy 16 being one that I finally dip into in the summer, over Christmas or whatever,
right?
And retroactively super come around on it. I could see myself, putting some time into it when I've got a bit more time and
I think
changing my tune.
The further in you get, the more likely it is to click.
Yeah, right.
Possibly.
Well, I've had the same kind of response with Forbidden West last year. Did, a big chunk of it to talk about on here. Just wasn't really getting cooking yet. And then when I went back to it, I was like, I was just up to the bit where it really starts to cook. And then everything after that was great. And ended up loving it.
Well, speaking of stuff we want to go back to, I really want to play more Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
I was enjoying that.
I still haven't played it. I just played the demo.
Right.
I just don't feel any particular drive to. I've never been super into just the fighting game part of fighting games, really.
I think that, fighting games are such a genre piece. It's like racing and whatever. There is a thing that you are doing.
Yeah.
So if it's not your thing...
And I think hearing that the World Tour was a little bit more superficial than we all probably hoped.
Yeah.
It's I want to play more of that because I was enjoying what it was. And I do like the fighting, so a bunch of silly excuses to do more of that. I'm really looking forward to Mortal Kombat 1 later this year because that does those story modes so
well. We
are
doing tenant mode. We're going forwards and backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking hell.
So I think Mortal Kombat 1...
you have to have dropped the mic to be able to pick it up.
I can't breathe. For some reason. I want to play more of that because just stop playing it to play other stuff, not out of not liking it. And kind of the same with Diablo 4.
Yeah, me too. I really enjoy it. I think it's a fantastic game, but other things came out.
That first season of it starts, and the way they do seasons is such a strange thing, which is apparently the case in 3 as well.
Where it's winter here and summer there.
Yeah. It's Tenet mode. But
we're the world's biggest Tenet fans.
So the way it works, I believe, is you basically have to start a new character to interact with the seasonal stuff.
Oh, okay.
And your existing character is in a separate realm then of legacy mode or something. I'm getting terms wrong and whatever, but it's designed to come in fresh. This is a new sort of mini campaign, I guess.
Right.
Is the seasonal content that you should do with a new character.
Okay.
Which is, it's Diablo is such a thing of building up your character and getting them new stuff that in one way it's why can't I use my guy?
Yeah,
but then it's nice to have an excuse to experiment with other classes and whatever. So,
and I guess putting everyone on ideally a level playing field at the start of the season.
And it's simpler to design content around that when you know where people will be at.
Yep.
It makes sense. And so I want to go and finish it off even before that season starts maybe, or at least so that I have time to do that and then the season stuff before that. And I'm not sure what their model is with if and when that stuff disappears.
Yeah, right.
I haven't really looked into that, but I was enjoying Diablo 4.
Yeah. Then also in June we had the Apple Vision Pro announce.
I'm excited for in 10 years' time for your guys being like, no one will ever use that, to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
Everyone listening to our podcast in VR mode.
Yep.
I truly think it's gonna. I'll stake my life on it.
Based on our recent episode,
kill me.
episode 400, looking back on predictions, whatever Tommy says about this is going to happen.
What did you say about it?
What did you say about it?
I can see VR stuff. Yeah, obviously, I think we've not quite hit the point yet where it's fulfilling its promise. I think this specific one, I just found it weird that it was being sort of like pitched at the casual consumer when it's like, what is it, like $4,000 or something like that? It's like this specific one is for businesses, and I think like the AR capabilities of it for gaming could be sick. Like I think we will get to a point where that stuff, like the tech becomes a bit more affordable to make and therefore to sell. But I just think like at this point, this specific one is like, yeah, if you're an interior designer, it's going to be like great for you in a business sense, but there's and even the way they were showing it off, they weren't really focusing on games or anything like that. So it just the whole thing of it felt weird the way it was being sold to me at this point.
I saw a good thing summing up like how similar this is to the iPhone, where like you might remember with iPhones, you didn't really see people having them much until like the 4 or something, and then that was the one where like, oh, suddenly everyone's got iPhones. That's weird. Yeah, and they do over-engineer the first one and make it really expensive because they want the 4 to have cheaper components because they've been manufactured so long because they put the expensive effort into the first one.
Right.
And that's the point where there'll be an S or whatever that is the affordable version of this. So I don't know.
I mean,
plug me into the computer. That's all I want.
Okay.
Them going all in on
asshole.
gaming. Them going all in on gaming and their like console being like a cool VR headset. Could be cool. If it was, not $1 billion.
That was the other thing I'm looking forward to out of their sort of conference was the game porting stuff, and like if games are available in more places, that's more better.
That good. We also had that. We talked about it just a couple of weeks ago, but that direct of Nintendo's back end of the year, I think was pretty surprising for most people. Just the amount of stuff of like new interesting stuff that they're working on to fill the year out, because it did really feel like they were winding up. So
it's changed my view that we'll see the Switch 2 this year as well. I don't think we will. I think we'll see that next year.
Yeah, that's been probably the biggest surprise of the year so far for me. That A, there being one, and B, like there being that much in it, and there being a fun-looking new 2D Mario I didn't think would be on the cards.
Yeah. Speaking of plugging me into the machine, a game that I haven't had time to get around to this year yet, but I really want to, is the remake of System Shock.
Yeah, apparently it's really good.
And I've played patches of that first one. There was like a enhanced edition or whatever that came out several years ago that just made the original game run on modern computers basically, and then maybe higher resolutions and stuff. And it is an old enough game that it is hard to approach now. So that I'm keen for that remake. I loved 2, one of the greats, and that's definitely something a gap I want to fill before
on the backlog.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
As well as I played a little bit and didn't talk about it on here yet. You guys want to hear about Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun?
Please.
I would love to.
Good news.
I'm a big 40k head.
Well, your head is big. 40k?
I'm a big Andrew Bolt fan.
Wow. Well, then I'll talk to Ben for this one.
Thank
in
you.
that case. It is fun. It's a very straightforward. They call them boomer shooters.
Folks, they call them boomer shooters.
Warhammer. If you're going into war with a hammer,
I got the biggest head in the world. It's it's huge.
Warhammer 40k.
It's a huge head.
It's very expensive. They expect you to pay way too much for these models. You gotta paint them yourselves, folks. They don't come pre-painted. It's ridiculous.
They're all grey. Little grey guys. You take them out of the box.
Get little magnifying glass.
Tiny little things that I find it hard to pick up with my enormous hands.
Small brush.
Anyway,
brush.
Yeah, it's very much in the style of those mid-90s
Jonah Hill.
Duke Nukem's. This game sends you some dodgy texts.
Yeah.
If you don't play it for a while, it's I'm having fun with it. It's not too complex.
Nice,
but it looks really nice. It's got a cool pixel style 2D thing for the enemies and for your guns, but then in a 3D world.
You thought you could keep this from us, you son of a bitch.
I was playing a bit of Quake as well, weirdly, because there's rumored to be a Quake 2 remaster in the same way they did Quake 1 a year or two ago.
Oh.
That'll be announced in August at Quake World.
Yes.
It's a Quake World. We're just living in it.
Bloody Melbourne's Quake World at the moment, am I
Sure
right?
is, baby.
Quaking all over the shop.
But if you like that type of mid-90s shooter, and there's not that many good 40k games for as often as they try.
No, yeah.
This is a bit of fun.
Okay.
Don't
Nice.
expect the world. No, don't expect the Quake world. But, fair, simple, enjoyable, chunky feeling shooting.
Nice.
Well, that was a game that you requested be up on the whiteboard. Adam, a game that Ben requested be up on the whiteboard. Something that I don't believe, spoken about on the pod at any point.
I feel like it's a big missed opportunity because it was a meme game when it came out.
AFL 23.
That's right. I think developed
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Do I need to have
Don't.
played beginning of the alphabet?
ABC.
K 1, 2. It doesn't matter. Do I
Yes.
need to have played the first 22?
Yes.
I saw someone post a screenshot of like their Facebook page, and it was like a discussion about a movie, and he was like, "Oh my god, this comment is absolute gold," and it was someone going, "Can I enjoy the movie Apollo 13 if I haven't seen all the other?" And it's like, you've never encountered this joke format before.
You must have been social distancing for years.
That's the thing. Those jokes, the first time someone assumed that a shrimp had fried this rice, I loved it.
Yeah.
True, yeah.
But then, you see
Yeah.
it a few million times and
Yeah.
it still makes you laugh the same as the first time. Anyway.
Well, this person works in comedy.
Yeah, right.
Well, they should be fired. AFL 23, terrible game. Like, awful, filled with, like, the most ridiculous bugs. Hilarious, like, one of the team's coaches, for some reason, spawning in as the goal umpire. Just like, crazy level of bugs and
Now,
glitches.
does this not happen? This feels like this happens with every time they make an AFL game.
Well, it's been a long time.
It
I
has.
think.
Really? Okay.
Like 2004 or something.
Oh, no, not that long. There's been AFL Evolution.
Right.
Was a
Maybe
PS3.
that was the last good one or something. I don't know.
No, it wasn't good. And there was a sequel as well, like 2016, 2017.
Okay.
They've just been bad, but not game-breakingly bad. Like I had AFL Evolution, and it was like, okay, it's functional, but it doesn't look good. They've attempted more than they can actually achieve
Right.
within their, like, I assume, very low budget.
And that's the thing. It's like it's such a what's the word? Like,
Niche?
not parochial, but like a very small, relatively sport that you're never gonna get that big FIFA budget or whatever.
It's
No,
pretty
totally.
funny to imagine, like, this game being developed by I don't know who, but then
Big Ant.
I assume that it has to go across the desk of someone in the AFL,
Yeah.
because it's got the license, and then probably not knowing what they're fucking looking at, just like that person
Yeah.
looking at this buggy ass game and going, "That looks fun to me." Get it out the door.
and
Yeah.
AFL are not afraid to have some shit merchandise.
Yeah,
as well,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So
It was like delayed a bunch of times as well. Like the physical Xbox copies were like
Made.
stuck in supply chain issues and like weren't shipped for months.
God, they got stuck in that fucking canal.
They did. But it is so weird because like, and yeah, they'll have, I guess, like, a year or two ago, you'll see like the footage of them scanning the players into the engine and stuff. And like, we know like AFL players are big gamers. Like when we did that, we commentated some stuff for Fortress, the gaming venue.
Yeah.
I think Jack Viney, the Melbourne player, was
Yeah.
competing in the Warzone tournament. Like, they're AFL players a huge game, like their Twitch stream.
It's such a missed
yeah.
opportunity. It's a shame because there are good, like Cult of the Lamb was made here, and it's obviously a
Yeah.
very different game, but there are good developers in Melbourne specifically, which is like the AFL hub.
Totally.
Is-
Yeah, make it as an indie. Make an AFL game that's like a pixel
I mean, they
art
do it with
sports
like
game.
wrestling. The good wrestling games are always the indie ones with blonde bleener.
Yeah.
Right.
there. But and then the I think the 2K ones have been better or something more recently.
Right. Oh, the UFC ones are good, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But it does also seem like it is a complex sport. Like it is,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on, and it's very rough and ready, and it's very grapply and chaotic.
Totally, I guess, yeah.
So
'cause
hard to make.
You make a Madden game, you're like, all right, well, throwing, catching, and tackling.
Everyone's in a fucking line.
Everyone's in a line, or FIFA is like a 360-degree game, soccer, I mean. But, you don't have to worry about contact and, like,
Yeah, but
dragging people to ground and shit.
I guess there would have been a point before they nailed that where it would have seemed like, how do you do this? How do you translate this?
Sure,
That's
yeah.
true. I mean, there's...
There are good NBA games, and basketball is similarly chaotic.
That's true, yeah.
Well, and
yeah.
in terms of
suppose.
something like a Diablo, bringing that style of game to a console, in that Jason Schreck book, they talk about how that was like a big frontier that hadn't been cracked, and like they had a whole team that was just focused on adapting the controls to feel good in a controller and actually make it work on a console.
It's
And
like
so before you need to put the time into prototyping it like a billion times, which then it just seems like a given of like, well, of course this has always functioned, but it's like a lot of time went into
Sure.
taking this thing that seemed like
Right.
an unscalable mountain.
It's like the 5-minute mile thing, right? Of like, no one's cracked it with an AFL game yet, but once they do, then people can.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like you say, they probably won't, because unlike NBA, for example, there's not billions of dollars
you
to
need the
pour
money
into
to
it.
spend literally just a year developing and abandoning prototypes
Yeah.
and like trying every different approach to like get the rules into the format of a video
A
game.
very
Yeah.
specific developer would have to chase it
Yeah.
in a way that probably won't happen because they'll get undercut by
You need like
Yeah.
AFL to just like randomly take off in Saudi Arabia and then just have some like
Totally.
insane financing coming from somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the puzzle game has been cracked for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And another fine entry into the annals of puzzle history came along in May with Humanity, which I love.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Yeah, I was really enjoying it. I think, a bunch of stuff came out after, so I haven't gone back to it. Part of why we're banking this is I'm going overseas tomorrow, and God, I wish this was on the Switch, because
Yeah.
this would be a fucking great one to play on the go.
I still haven't tried the VR mode yet,
Right.
yeah.
which I really
Should.
should, and we will get to February.
Yeah.
But that's one I want to go and
Good
see
game.
the rest of.
Great, yeah. Really, really good little puzzle game that feels like it's I'm saying I haven't plowed on with it, so I'm guilty of this too, but it's kind of been a little, didn't get huge hype when it came out. Feels like it feels a little under the rug.
Well, I
for
didn't
the
like
quality
it,
of it.
and I don't know how successful it was. And I don't intend to go back to it. So maybe everyone's in the same boat.
And
Well,
then
that puts
I'll just
you-
edit that sentence out and repeat it now for after we say Redfall.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
The way you
I
feel about
actively-
humanity is the
yeah.
way everyone feels about Redfall.
it was just a failure in almost every way. Yeah.
To this enormous level where I think Phil Spencer had other interviews. It was like around that fake E3 time, so he was going to be doing interviews anyway.
Yes.
But pretty interesting to see, like, the head of a gaming division having to basically be like, yes, sorry about that one.
Yeah.
You don't get that very often. I saw Bob Iger was like,
Oh yeah.
kind of admitting they'd had some misses with Marvel.
Because especially
Sorry,
with art,
Ms. Marvel.
especially with art too, where it is subjective, right? So even if something comes out and gets panned, you can sort of think of it as it'll find its audience eventually. We
Sure.
know we made something good. We didn't make it for the critics or whatever.
Right.
So to like sit there with a piece of art and go, no, yeah, you're right. It is
We-
bad.
we dropped
did,
the ball.
we did fuck it.
It's
Like,
a cool thing about video games where it does overlap with technology so
Right.
much, obviously, not even overlap. They're the same circle, but where you can say this is just objectively...
there's a degree of objectivity
Yeah,
to
it
it that
doesn't
doesn't
reach
exist with like a movie or whatever.
standards,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like if a
yeah.
movie like, oh, we forgot to turn the camera on for some scenes
Yeah,
and
yeah.
da-da-da, so...
Well, if like you were watching There Will Be Blood and it's basically the same movie, but if you could see the boom like literally every minute and a half,
Right.
You'd
Daniel Day-Lewis is falling through the floor.
right, you
Yeah,
would
the kids T-posing.
you'd have to deduct a couple of stars.
Yeah.
Like, it's a shame because this is
Yeah.
This could be an all-time classic, but they just fucking edited it weirdly
But
and then put it out.
The thing with Redfall is it was never going to be an all-time classic. It was sort of built to be a sort of like a money-making machine. It was a cynical sort of... it took a cynical form even.
There's an article that Jason Schreier wrote that got published relatively recently, where he talked to some people anonymously who worked on it, and they
were anonymous. He let
was
them know
wearing
who
a
he
sack
was.
over his head.
Wearing a V for Vendetta mask.
Yeah, he interviewed them. He was on a park bench reading a newspaper with some eye holes cut out. They talk about how it was like all over the place, and then when Microsoft acquired them, they were all hoping like, please cancel this game.
Yes, yes.
This needs someone else to come in and pull the plug out of the life support, because it's just not going to get back on track.
Getting back on track to April.
Well, May, of course, Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Adam, how could you forget?
I wish I'd have had a prompt. That was my main May. I've still even been kind of going back to it in bits and pieces, but have very much finished it off and done the majority of the stuff in there. I've played it for 120 hours or something.
The majority.
Oh, I like that.
That's good.
I don't think we've ever stumbled across that.
No.
Yeah.
Wind Waker, I barely know her. It's such a good game. We'll talk about it heaps at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've done... What have I done? I've done 3 of the main temples. I'm going around trying to get all those... I'm trying to get the whole underground map.
Man, I did
done.
that shit. It's so good.
I'm sort of delaying myself from the end part. I want to do as many of the shrines. I want to get that whole underground map done. I've given myself a list of a couple of the things that I want to have knocked off. Oh, all the little newspaper quests at the stables. I'm working through all of this stuff before I even entertain the idea of going towards the actual end point of the story stuff.
Great,
because I just don't want it to end. I want to keep going.
Yeah, it's so good. We'll probably, when we do Game of the Year stuff, do a full kind of spoilery section.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
It's such a. It just is so. It's one of those weird things that has been theoretical for so long and frequently delayed, not really showing any of it off, to now know, to have put so much time into it and know basically everything about it. It just now exists as something that's in the past. It just feels so surreal when it's just been on the horizon for seemingly forever.
It's the first time I've had that feeling in a very long time, maybe since being a kid, of this game that was in the magazines and whatever, and then it feels bizarre to be playing Metal Gear Solid 3 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It felt odd to start playing it. It felt really strange.
Right, and you go, oh, imagine when we start seeing the news about the PlayStation 7.
Yeah,
but it's we'll get to that. We'll hit that day. It's coming. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Real interesting game.
Yeah, good game. It hasn't stuck in my mind as GOAT,
Right.
It's it was a fun game, and I definitely got not addicted, but it became very Moorish to me, and I started, just playing it every spare moment, and got to the end, and now, it's not one that I think about very much, and it's maybe made the year feel a bit of a lower year for games than previous years, because there really hasn't been anything even close to that level, and that level for me is still not
Right.
top platinum, super great.
Interesting.
But it's a fantastic game. It just doesn't have that level of it, even compared to Breath of the Wild. Say Breath of the Wild for me is all timer, super influential. Was a fresh take on something, whereas this for me was so similar to that.
Yeah.
Ironically, that it was just that was a really good game that I played. Yeah.
I can definitely understand how it might not have that spark.
Yeah,
that whatever
right.
it is, it did for me, which I was worried that it wouldn't because of knowing it was using the same map and everything. But it managed to do the stuff that it did do, and the new stuff in there was so good, and it did feel like such a second thing to me that it had that spark for whatever reason. But I can understand.
And it's a minuscule differentiation for me between like all-timer and great, like
Yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing
There's
tangible.
an X factor thing
Right.
that comes into
Yeah.
it at that point.
In your
where it's
personal
like,
Sure.
things, it's an intangible.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't come down to like the level of polish or anything like that. It's
No,
just like a vibe thing that just
yeah,
stays
totally.
with you.
Yeah.
All right, April. Ghostwire Tokyo DLC came out. I think we were all interested in that. It looked good, and I don't think any of us has engaged with it yet, right?
No, I want to.
Yeah,
But,
that was a fantastic game originally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super keen to. Well, I think we have coming up, if not now, chronologically, some free time to go and play some of these games that we
Yes.
haven't gotten to.
Yeah, that's definitely. I almost want to. There's a thing with it where I almost want to leave more time so I can play the whole thing again because that DLC stuff is woven through.
Yeah, that's right.
But I
Yeah.
definitely want to one of these days, Alice.
Bang zoom straight to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Me too. I think I probably will do the same thing and start it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what I kind of did with Final Fantasy 1.
Right.
I played through Final Fantasy 1, the Pixel remasters. They came out on the Switch, and they're sitting there ready to just, whenever I feel like, it's time to go back in.
Yep.
I want to go through those 6 again.
Yep.
And the change of the font, it's so stupid, but to being a pixel font matters to me. I'm into kerning or
Yep.
whatever. And
Hurling.
huh?
Hurling?
Hurling.
Curling.
Curling.
Kerning?
Hurley.
Liz Hurley.
Liz Hurley.
Yeah.
Hurley from Lost.
No, I'm lost now.
The letters.
I know.
Kerning. Okay.
I was a graphic designer for 10 years. I know.
But I thought I had it wrong. I thought it was hurling, and I was like, damn, I had that really wrong. Where did kerning come from? Anyway, they're cool.
They're sitting
They're
there.
there. Advance Wars finally came out, of course, after the conclusion of the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
What a great way to celebrate.
Yep. They just dropped it in April.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We probably should have just done this at the time.
yeah.
I was kind of enjoying this enough. I haven't been back to it since we talked about it. I think because I've still got, we'll talk about it a bit more when we get to it, but Final Fantasy Engage is still sort of on the back burner for me.
Final Fantasy Engage.
Fuck.
God, that's
Well,
really foolish of you.
It's been a lot of potting.
This guy doesn't even know the letters have hurling in them.
No, don't.
What?
Please, no. Sorry, Fire Emblem Engage,
Yeah.
which is, similar-ish enough, but I just, enjoy that a little bit more. I kind of found it hard to push through Advance Wars because it's a tough game.
It is tough. I loved it. I didn't finish it, but I really, really enjoyed it. I would have loved it if I'd played it at the time that it came out, I think. But coming to it fresh, it's just so well tuned. Like
Yeah.
the combat is perfect with that, that tactical stuff. It has to be, and it really is.
Yeah.
Dude, they were hot shit back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Playing that, sitting on the toilet in 2002, tilting your Game Boy Advance towards the light in the
Oh, yeah.
bathroom because it didn't have a backlight.
Globe hanging down off the ceiling.
Oh, those were the
In
days.
the outhouse in the
Yeah,
Adam Knox household. Dead Island 2.
I
Yeah.
have
Did you-
zero interest in playing this.
Right.
Yeah,
honestly.
you played a bit, Ben.
Yeah, it's good. It's not great. It's just fine. It felt a bit dated, but like mechanically and visually, it was all fine. It was polished. It wasn't buggy or anything when I played it.
It's one of those things that's a bit like what Duke Nukem Forever ended up being or something in my head where it's like, oh, it's cool it came out.
Right, right. But yeah, no, it's fine. It was like the writing's not super great, but I don't know.
It feels like it did land with a bit of a and I'm sure
Yeah.
the devs at the time were a bit like disappointed, and then they saw the way that Redfall landed and was received, and were
Yeah.
probably like,
Could have been worse.
just a bit of a
Yeah.
meh is not the worst thing that
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah.
I sort of weirdly that feeling of like, okay, is what I had with Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Really?
It's fine.
I think
game.
it's really good. I think it's just as good as the previous one, but I don't think it's like Game of the Year level.
Yeah, it was like and a lot of this stuff may be improved now, like a little buggy and stuff at the time, which kind of was annoying. Like just some not massively major stuff, but like a feeling through most of the game of it being like a little awkward.
Right.
I didn't. Yeah, I thought it felt super polished. I really enjoyed it.
Right.
And I just didn't really see many other people talking about bugs either. But you know, that's just a shame then that you didn't have a super polished experience.
Well, yeah, and it was just like it's okay. It's sort of, I guess, with like the Tomb Raider reboot games and stuff in my head, where it's like, this is fine. This is okay. This is like real. If you meat and potatoes kind of game, you know, that's how that thing felt to me. But and like I played all of it and fucking went and finished everything, and like, you know, like it's that. But so I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
For sure. It didn't, like, it's not a bad game.
It's a good time to be a gamer who likes Star Wars because, boy, you're getting a lot of fun little treats coming along. Just that open world.
Yeah, Outlaws.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one.
That, like, David Cage one, I
Oh,
guess.
yeah, of course.
If that ends up happening.
And another, I felt like there was even another one on top of that. But then also, like Squadrons was a good game. Like, they've mostly been better than the movies and TV.
Well, this is the funny thing about talking to my girlfriend about Hogwarts Legacy and being like,
wait until February.
getting a game that is in the world of something you like, but it's its own thing. The other stuff all kind of exists separately. There's stuff that you recognize, but they've been able to write their own story, so it's surprising, and you're your own kind of avatar character. It's like just explaining to her what this game would have been 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and there is a version of that, is just like it follows the beats of the movie very awkwardly, kind of adds in weird stuff that sort of doesn't make sense but has to exist in the world of the game. It's like
Phantom Menace on the PS1.
Right.
How much that focuses so much of its like runtime on like them walking through Naboo, fighting things that weren't in there. You know what I'm like?
Yeah. The direct adaptation almost doesn't, I don't think really ever happens at all now. And it'd be interesting to track like what is the turning point. It probably is a Star Wars game, right? Like the turning point of going, hey, why don't we, instead of just slavishly copying the source material, what if we set a thing that's in the same world, but we just get to kind of do our own thing that suits, you know, the purpose of a video game?
They definitely had a lot of those Star Wars ones, like in between the originals and the prequels. There was like Dark Forces and whatever, and a lot of stuff in there. But
Jedi Outcast and stuff.
They were doing a lot of I think they had film adaptations up through to Revenge of the Sith, though. So they were still doing that as well.
Exactly, yeah, that's the thing. Like Knights of the Old Republic was, you know, way before that. The Lord of the Rings ones, I feel like, were around that period as well, where, like, I think, Star Wars is maybe, like, the exception of already doing extended universe stuff.
Yeah. The Lord of the Rings had some. They were still doing the kind of movie adaptation ones.
That's what I mean. They were maybe the last of those big ones.
To be like straight,
it's the movie.
I would love to know, like, what is the first licensed game where the license holder just goes to the devs and goes, you know what? Do what you want.
Yeah.
Surprise me.
Because it started...
E.T.
Yeah, E.T.
Right? That's not following the movie.
Yeah, okay. All right.
There were James Bond games coming out that were their own story.
Yep.
That were like basically pretending to be a James Bond movie. But it was just like, what was that one? The one from 2000s. Pierce Brosnan's The Face. There's a James Bond one from around then.
Okay.
Google will help you out listening here. You can go and look at another podcast where they can remember.
Yeah.
I don't think they exist. I can't imagine anyone would be able to do that.
Killing me. I really want to know what this
James
was.
Pond.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. James Pond.
Well,
I keep just thinking of Die Another Day.
Oh, sure.
Everything or Nothing.
Yeah,
That's what it was called. Oh, thank God.
Literally,
my muscles relaxed. That's
not a bad name for a James Bond movie. Everything or Nothing.
That was their thinking, I suppose.
Yeah, okay.
You know what a bad name for a James Bond movie would be?
What?
March. But a couple of video game movies came out in March.
Yes.
We went and saw the Mario movie in March.
Yep.
And not having kids and not understanding what it's like to have kids.
Yeah.
We didn't enjoy it.
No.
But fucking people did
Exactly.
to the tune
Yeah.
of,
It doesn't matter that we didn't.
yeah, Studio
Over
Millions.
a bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bill.
Yeah, yeah.
He cracked the bill. Yeah.
Once it came out in Japan, it cracked the
Wow.
bill.
the Billy.
God damn. Imagine making a
Da da
bill.
da da da. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Nice. That's the theme song to the TV cop show.
The Shield.
Yeah, we saw that. I
softened
fucking
on it the
hated
more I thought about it afterwards. I was like,
I was
yeah,
the
it was fine.
opposite. I was the
It was,
opposite.
it was a Looney Tunes cartoon.
I got so mad at it.
It's the only time I can think where I'm like, I should actually write a better version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And make subtitles for it and like crazy behavior.
But it was such a like
Redub.
missed opportunity, and you saw all the opportunities there where it's like, just put a bit more time and effort into.
Well, that
those-
is- yeah.
dialogue.
And we're wrong. They knew what they were doing, I guess,
Yeah.
because
That
like
is the shame that
you can't argue
Well,
with
no.
$1 billion.
No, money is not everything. Money doesn't mean quality.
Dude, get Scrooge McDuck to dive into some good ideas.
Yeah.
What
He's
I
going to
wanna-
break his neck.
I want to find out the turning point when people started like rooting for movies to make money. Like,
Oh, sure.
you know, like I never ever and still don't, but like never cared about the box office return of a film. I cared about whether I liked it or not. And people started like rooting for
If it's like a smaller, if it's like an an indie film or like a new director, like you want it to do well enough for them to be able to, for that filmmaker to
Yeah.
be able to do what they do again. If you see something and you love it and it tanks, it's like, oh, that's a shame that person's not going to get to make another movie.
well, that people they used to like, a lot of the great auteurs, like Scorsese films, never used to make
Yep.
money, and like David Lynch, like people just used to make art and would fund art. But yeah, it became a real like a game almost of like, and maybe it was like the Marvel DC competition.
I think it's
sort
like
of stuff.
if I
Feel
like
like
the
it-
existing, the mentality is like liking the existing media that's being adapted, and so you feel like you're on the ground floor and more people are going to be exposed to this, so it's like you're rooting for it to do well because you're like an early fan, an early adopter of like whatever the thing
People
is.
were into like Arnie movies, V. Stallone movies back in the day, and like going and looking up little clips for like the intros to episodes and stuff. You get a lot of news reports where they're like, the Batman's coming out and it's set to make box office millions.
Yeah, yeah. I just
Star
feel like
Wars and-
there was a point where I would like I used to listen to movie podcasts, and there was a point where they started bringing up how much it would make,
Right.
as opposed to never even thinking about it as a part of that discussion.
Yeah, I guess part of that too is like, social media now. So like any new movie that comes out has its own Instagram account where part of the marketing is to go, hey, well, here's an excuse for a post. It's
Yeah,
made $4
yeah.
million in
That's
its
true,
like
yeah.
first 2 hours or whatever.
And it like the more you get into something like that, I mean, it's the same with games and stuff where the industry becomes interesting in itself too. Like it's a second interesting thing about the thing that you like. But yeah.
Annoyingly, I think there's like some things that you could tweak about the Mario movie to make it good or at least better. And, you like to think, oh, well, maybe there'll be a sequel for sure. Maybe in the second one they'll tweak some of those things, but then this one made $1 billion, so
Right.
if anything, it'll they're not going to go like back to the drawing board and be like, what can we do better?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
these sorts of like things that then become like a franchise, especially animated.
Yeah.
They always start going downhill pretty rapidly. So it's like this is
right.
as good as it's going to get, which is like, is a shame, but also whatever.
I suppose all I'm saying is I wish that all media was specifically designed with me in mind.
Yeah.
That would just be really helpful.
I think, like I said it at the time, like if this came out when I was not doing a podcast about games, I would have shrugged and not seen it, and I wouldn't have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny
Yeah.
to actively shrug. You see the poster the first time, you're like, "Mwah, on
No,
with my
every
day."
time he sees it, every time he
Yeah.
sees it on a bus or a tram
Yeah.
stop.
If there's one of those
shrugging.
walls where they've like pasted 50 posters, it takes you half an hour to
Do
walk
it
past
all.
it. Mwah. Your shoulder, you're in a fucking sling on each arm.
I invented a new dance.
Tetris movie as well. I enjoyed that came
Yeah.
out around then. That's movies.
I guess I didn't have high hopes for it, but I was still not that into it. But it was like exactly, I feel like, what it said on the tin.
Something that
Yeah.
came out in March. that I think we all enjoyed. I'm going to say 2 games.
Oh, okay.
Oof.
Resident Evil 4 and Dredge. I'll say them
Loved
quickly
them
enough.
both.
March was a good
Loved
month.
them.
Good games.
Yeah.
Fun time.
Great. Had only played the start of Resident Evil 4 in the VR version.
Yep.
Right.
So it was pretty fresh to it and fucking loved it. Like, yeah. Finished it. Enjoyed it from start to finish. It was great.
So good. It's right up there this year for me so far.
Yeah.
And same with Dredge. Dredge, that
Yes.
just perfect thing of like, not really aware of it, comes out,
Yeah.
see a couple tweets, do some investigating,
Shrug.
think it
Get on with your day.
shrug,
Yeah.
then realise
Don't have
that
an opinion
shrug
on
was
it.
probably a bit like, went a bit early on the shrug.
Yeah, it was shrug, walk off, turn around, go
Wait
back
a
to the poster. Your shoulders are still up. Bring them back down.
Yeah.
Maybe
Do
I'll look
a-
into this.
Do a
Yeah.
reverse shrug, move my hands like this, clicking on the purchase button on Steam.
Sure.
Okay.
That's like a lateral shrug.
Yeah.
That's a 90-degree shrug.
That's like a positive shrug because
Yeah.
you're going towards. Yeah. Yeah, love Dredge.
Yeah, surprising and like a fun, like kind of unique idea and just well executed.
Totally.
Out of the
And
gate.
I think a couple of patches have come out since it, or like an update that let you mark stuff on the map a bit more thoroughly.
That would have been helpful.
Yeah.
And because they
I
said
guess that's why they added it.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. That's, yeah.
they said just after it came out that there'd be
They should have
an
patched the
update
Mario
that's
movie.
just like little things like that, and then there is like a content story update coming
Okay,
somewhere
cool.
along the line too.
Nice.
Which would be cool.
Yeah, sick game.
I would like to see stuff about if they're going to add in the Ada chapter and everything to Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Because, I enjoyed Resident Evil 4. Such a weird one where it is a remake, but then is like such a almost separate, different
Right,
version in
right.
a lot of ways where my brain has trouble categorizing it. But
It is, that is the problem with the current, mediascape of like reboots and soft reboots and like legacy sequels and shit of like, what is it really? Because it's not, it's not the same game.
Because
But
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
It's its own thing. It feels like you could play it not knowing and just think it was like a brand new thing for 2023. I don't
Except
think it
it's-
feels dated at all.
Except not because it's called Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
And then it does have some of that like kind of old-fashioned game design in it as well. But it's an
I
odd
think
one.
this kind of thing is sort of what I wanted from Final Fantasy 16, which might sound weird, but it's like it's got that mix of it's incredibly polished, it's cinematic, it's such a high quality product. It's like a kind of dumb movie, probably like story not to the same extent as Final Fantasy 16, obviously, but like you're just playing a lot of it. You're just doing a lot of shit in it. Like it's got all that.
I'm
like,
going to name a game that's going to make you reverse shrug. Final Fantasy VII Remake is what you're looking for.
That is
Yeah.
what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And you'll get maybe more. No, next year. They've said
Yeah,
that.
early next year.
Yeah. March also contained further cancellation
Oh, yeah.
confirmation of E3.
Yep.
That for 24 and 25 at least, it's done.
Yeah.
Law and Order style. Done.
That's the bill, I think.
But
Which ended up not mattering at all.
No.
If we
Yeah.
basically have just had why we feel confident banking stuff for a couple of weeks is like we just did have this pretty massive month where stuff got announced. It felt like we had a faux E3.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Or just an E3 because it all exists as just streamed direct presentations anyway.
It should be called, saying faux A3, it should be called E-faux,
E4.
right? Because
Yeah.
it's like the next E3, but it's fake E3.
I miss the everything being crammed into a quick spurt of information that E3 had, where it was like 3 days. All the press conferences happened there.
yeah. I mean, it still
that-
is 3 days, but it's just like Summer Game Fest Day.
But like
Xbox
the
Day.
PlayStation thing's in May, and then the Game Fest thing is there, and then a week later there's the Xbox thing. It truly doesn't matter, but I just liked that experience of like, it's this crazy lads weekend.
See,
Yeah.
I like it because it's perfect for our show.
Yeah, it's it being more spread out and
Yeah.
everything we have a week where we discuss the PlayStation one.
Yeah.
We discuss the Xbox. We're not having to
Yeah.
pit
And I
them
never-
against each other as much or whatever.
And I never was an E3 watcher.
Oh.
It was just like I wasn't into games then, and it. Well, yeah, it's sort of timing wise lined up with this podcast starting of it like stopping. I think
Kind of starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked that
the format
span
scene
of time where it was the thing.
I liked it more back in the days when it was like a handful of fellas went over there.
Right.
And then a month later, you saw a page of stuff in a magazine.
The magazine stuff was cool. I liked being able to watch it from the like internet era.
Yeah.
That was fun for me.
All filmed off screen on the conference floor, like barely any direct feed footage of the new Zelda.
The sound would just be just
Yeah.
like 500 booths all competing.
Wo Long came and went.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't super into it.
Yeah.
It's okay, and it was like a great Game Pass sort of thing where you go, oh yeah, I got my fill of that after like maybe, I don't know, probably about half of it.
Right.
And I'm done.
I didn't even make it that far, and maybe I should give it more of a go. But I didn't love just like the level design and stuff. It felt a bit less, bit lower quality than the stuff that it was so obviously going to be compared to.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like, it's the Neo people.
Yeah.
Which is also what humans are called in my sci-fi novel that I'm working on.
Oh, that's really clever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The humans are the real robots. But
That's really clever.
it just was like it was missing something.
Yeah.
It felt too much like knockoff Sekiro or knockoff Elden Ring,
Yeah.
which is what it is.
And then even just like in a vacuum on its own terms, I don't think that it had like enough sort of fun enemies to fight. Really, I wasn't into the bosses and it's not terrible. I was enjoying playing it. It was just one of those ones that you could fall off of it quite easily, and then you don't scrabble your way back onto the ship.
I feel like outside of you
floating
guys,
in the water.
I didn't hear anyone talk about this
Right.
either at release or since.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no one posting about it that I
Yeah.
see. It's just kind of, it did just kind of come and go.
So long, well long.
Yeah.
Bayonetta Origins, Racer and the Lost Demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I was
was
enjoying this.
a
Fun
weird
little puzzle
one.
platform.
Yeah, I really like that. Again, there's not much it's not like a walkthrough, updates, DLC, people talking about it every week, but it did kind of come and go as well.
Yeah.
But very much, it was sort of that thing too, where it's this is this. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not trying to be more than like it's a side thing to Bayonetta that was like a cute little story.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
it.
well presented.
It I think maybe was meant to be aimed at a younger audience. Perhaps it had that real storybook fairy tale feel to it. Really well made, great aesthetic. Good game. Full stop.
Yeah.
There's no but. Honestly, there's no buts.
I didn't get super into it. I would like to go back and see that one through. But I can see through clear to February.
Oh yeah.
And I can see through because I've got pass-through lenses here on my big headset that are making everything look grey, but it's moving quickly enough that I don't feel sick.
That's good.
good. Yeah, that is very handy.
It's high quality, and let me tell you, the price label matches that.
Oh, yeah.
The PSVR 2 came out.
how
and
are you going for price investment versus time reward?
Poor.
Yeah, that's
It
a
is
shame.
not being discussed by Sony, really. It is
True.
not having games shown for it very much. Like, they've peppered a couple in at their things they've done since then or whatever, here and
Yeah.
there.
But nothing that's, not
No
coming
big
to,
hitters.
coming
They
to
had-
everything else. And
Horizon Call of the Mountain was the big lead guy. And
Launch game?
yeah, that's the one.
I think you were trying to
And-
find.
It was all right. It
Right.
was stuff you've sort of seen before in VR games of like the climbing and the bow shooting and
Yep.
pretty standard VR sort of things, but it was done nicely and it looked great.
Right.
Gran Turismo 7 was very fucking cool to drive around in, feeling like you're sitting in a car. Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
that feeling like you're in a car.
I love that feeling, honestly.
It's pretty cool. The
I
open
love
road,
it.
baby.
And driving fast.
Yeah.
But that's why I invested in a car.
Yeah.
It was more than the VR2, I will
I don't
say.
ever
by
tend to
a
drive
ton.
that fast in it, honestly, but
Yeah.
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 I don't know why they...
I love going
Why
fast.
with this you wouldn't? Because PlayStation are in that position now that like everyone wants to be in, where you've got recognizable IP. You've got
Yeah.
enough big characters that people have this attachment to and fondness for.
Some of
why
them-
you wouldn't just be lining it up and just making, even if they are these little 5-hour theme park ride things, a God of War, an Uncharted, like, you know, just license out, get anyone to make the, like, you're on the point of view of someone who's like hunting treasure in the jungle, like
Or-
whatever it is, to just make this thing seem, you know, essential, not even essential, like
Just
you're
good.
like you're
Yeah.
thinking about it, like
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
the gift of having recognizable IP set in these like interesting, like really dynamic environments that like people would want to put their headset on and be in fucking God of War.
If I can chuck that axe and then bring
Yes.
it back into my hand using the thing, that would feel great, probably.
Yeah.
because that's Oculus's problem, is that they're like they don't they're having to like do knock off zombie game thing.
Right.
They don't have that that catalog to draw from.
Yeah, I don't even care what it... I mean, like a big thing they could have done was make it simpler for PSVR 1 games to work on it and not have, it just up to the developer to decide to make a port and then charge again for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a good move to get people in. And like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see over the next few years if it does sort of just the
I mean,
air
I
comes
just feel
out
like
of it.
the 4 month like it's kind of a crucial time where it landed and there wasn't much on it, and the reviews were like, that's fine, but inessential. And then in the 4 months since, it's like, this is it is like the clock's ticking, and you need to a certain
There's
point
a game
go,
called
here's a roadmap.
Synapse that has come out recently that I haven't had time to play as of recording this, but probably will by the time we're back in a couple of weeks. So, for anyone listening, we'll be back next week.
Yes.
And won't be, but I'm talking IRL.
Yeah. Because I think the big oversight is like, okay, you have one big first-party IP game come out
That's
at launch.
not amazing.
That's not amazing, but
Yeah.
is still more than a tech demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to not have a second one at all.
Even just showing a logo and being like, we're working on a whatever standalone Last of Us, different characters in that world, doing
Uncharted,
Whatever
Holiday
it is.
2023, just anything.
Well, and they had their opportunity in May with the state of play that they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which didn't have much of anything to it. So, yeah, I am not doom and gloom too much yet. I'm hoping that at some point later this year, there's some stuff pops up that might come out next year or something. I would be...
And like technologically, obviously, it's top of the line.
People are getting closer and closer to making it fully functional on the PC.
Oh, nice.
Which is definitely would be great.
Yeah.
Because there are some games available there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been surprising how quick that progress has been from before it came out. They were like, it'll never be possible
Yeah,
to now
that's right.
a few 0 games later coming out for it so immediately, surely. But it's such a cool thing technology-wise. And the Resident Evil 8 thing and the Gran Turismo 7 updates, those were cool. There's the Resident Evil 4 VR mode coming at some stage. So it's not like there's nothing. But it's certainly not something that I would recommend anyone get anywhere near to yet.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit of squandered potential.
Yeah.
So far.
At this point,
Yeah.
I hope they
What
are
we
able
know,
to
yeah.
right the ship, but they haven't. The captain hasn't shouted any commands to the rest of the seamen. Yeah, do you know that's what they call them? So funny.
Yeah, that's sick. Speaking of
Why is it funny?
speaking of coming,
Yeah.
Speaking
of came,
a
game came out.
Okay. Which one are you picking?
well,
Oh.
the one that I really want to put more time into, probably of everything that's come out this year. Like a Dragon Ishin. I was really enjoying what I played of it, but it's like all those games. It's so drawn out at the start that I feel like I was only just starting to scratch the surface at the point that I kind of stepped away from it for a bit. But I think when there's a bit more time, I'll just that is similar to like pacing of a Final Fantasy 16 where you have to sit down and be very aware and really treat it like I might just be watching a movie for the entire hour that I'm devoting to playing a bit of this now, because you just don't know whether you're going to be in a gameplay segment or just watching a very, very long cutscene. I was really enjoying it. I had played of it.
I think comparing it to Final Fantasy 16, which I think is it's very similar. It is hack and slash real-time combat and lots of cutscenes. This is the one I want to finish off, honestly. I really enjoyed what I played of it. It has a good story like those Like a Dragon games. It is engaging and melodramatic and silly. The era it's set in, it's like there's some genuine like political stuff to it.
And it's just got like those games all do have like a weird, fun sense of humor, as we saw with the reveal of the next Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and there's another in between that is coming out this year too.
Yeah.
What is
Everything
that?
or nothing.
The man who sold his name.
Right.
Or the man who erased his name.
I think it's the man who sold the world.
Specifically that sense of humor of like that reveal trailer of Infinite Wealth of like nude bloke washing up on the beach.
Austin Powers.
And that's all we're showing you.
Yeah.
We had the Heart double feature in February.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Atomic Heart. I really liked it. I'm gonna finish it at some point in my life, but given our sort of schedule and stuff, I played a bunch of it as much as I could when we were talking about it for release. I like it. It's certainly not of the same quality as a BioShock 1, 2, or 3, or the many things it was similar to, but aesthetically it was cool. It was fun.
I don't know
like it.
Why it was. It just didn't click with me for whatever reason. Didn't. I don't know. That people sometimes they smell each other's chemicals and they're like, nah. I guess that happened.
Yeah.
The radioactive chemicals got in my nose.
That would make a lot of sense then to be turned off by that. It's mechanically it was like. It was very similar to games that came out in 2013, but aesthetically and also if you liked those kind of games, heaps, which I did, I was like, it's another one of my favorite kind of games.
Right.
So,
I think if I were to go back to it, I'd give it a crack on the PC maybe instead of the Xbox, because I think partly the controls were a little nil.
Yeah, I played it on PC and maybe I think it was maybe not as smooth in terms of performance and stuff on console compared to we have pretty powerful PCs. I think it probably would have benefited from that.
The other ventricle to the Heart double feature was Wild Hearts, which is the Monster Hunter knockoff, which is a little unfair to call it, I get, but very Monster Hunter styled game.
Yep.
Published by EA. I don't remember the developer, but
it was also a Japanese, as was Monster Hunter. It was a Japanese developer.
I thought that looked cool. I heard that it was all right, but a little needed some patching, and I believe that patching stuff has happened to some extent.
Right.
I've seen it on sale, and I've been tempted.
Yep.
Similar to a Monster Hunter, though, it seems like something where you'd want to have a few hours.
Yeah, you got to lock into that combat style and stuff.
Wild Hearts looked really cool, and I think I want to try and revisit that
multi-platform game, I assume.
Yeah, it is, and that's the end of that.
Where did you see it on sale?
It's been on sale all over the shop.
Yeah, great.
Right.
Yeah,
it's definitely got
shop,
that.
Adam.
It's definitely got that vibe of a game that would be like a sleeper hit for some people who really, it'll be one of those random ones that pops up on some end of year lists because the people who are into it are riding super hard for it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's got that fervor necessarily. It's maybe closer to a Wolong to Monster Hunter Sekiro,
right.
But not with maybe the same sort of disparity that we were talking about before.
I'm keen to check it out. I'm sure we'll have a few dips of new releases where
Yeah.
One of those ones that I could see popping up on Game Pass too, because EA stuff does travel over there at some stage.
True.
If that happens. And also the other one from February that I definitely want to play at some point is Theatre Rhythm Final Bar Line.
Yeah.
This is the like music rhythm thing that's got like all of Square's tracks.
You've got it.
That's ever been in any of their games.
Wowee.
Mostly the Final Fantasy ones in the sort of default version, but I think it's one of the ones where it's got a few DLC sort of packs that have like the Chrono Trigger one and the whatever.
Yep.
But the music from all of those games is generally very good. And having a rhythm game to do while you're listening to One Winged Angel.
Yes.
I'll do that.
Yes. What is
But
it?
imagine some of those notes will be going because you pressed it at the wrong time. Perfect.
What does it look like? I can't visualize how you play this.
It's a two-dimensional. So you know the Guitar Hero thing,
yeah.
the fretboard. Turn that 90 degrees.
Oh yeah, like the drum. What's the Japanese
Yes.
drum one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taiko something.
Yeah. Yeah. Sick.
It's like that, I believe, and I think the Switch version you can tap on the screen. Maybe.
Yeah, you can do that with the drum one if you don't have the drums.
Right.
Yeah, right. One of the ones that's on my radar.
Yeah.
And I've ignored. And there's been a plane crash because I did not alert the tower.
I don't think this one really was on my radar, but now I'm interested.
Yeah. Metroid Prime remaster. Rumored for a very long time, and then came out in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Announced in a Nintendo Direct, up on the eShop straight away.
Same as those Pikmin remasters, but people haven't been talking about them as much. But it was... And it was more intricate than those Pikmin ones have been, where they went back and redid all of the models and everything. And it's the exact same game, but updated nicely, looks good.
Runs really well. And the game doesn't feel dated or aged at all.
Right. It's such a good game.
Such a good experience.
It is a flat-out classic that I think basically everyone would enjoy. That's a crazy statement, but it is so good. If you like video games, you'll probably like this video game.
Okay. I didn't go in yet, and I kind of was like, I'll just wait for the new one because I imagine that 4 will be really good.
I think 4's just been talked about for so long and seen nothing of it that this series had kind of... It was sort of just in the back of my head, and I hadn't played... I never played this one. I think I played a little bit of maybe 3 back when it came out, so I'm not that attached to the series. And, people clamour for word on 4. I've always just been a bit like, no, whatever. Right. But then, playing this now and like this... Obviously, this is why they... put this out to kind of get people back on board before they really start showing off 4 eventually, hopefully at some point. It has made me go, fucking hell. This I'm pumped.
It's a great game, and like the ideal version of if you're going to remaster something rather than remake it,
right?
Like just literally bring all the graphics up to modern-ish standards.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah.
And cool way of putting it out. When stuff just you hear about it and then it's suddenly there.
Yep.
Oh, that's what I call a nice surprise.
Mm.
It's a term I came up with. You might hear it around now that it caught on in a big way.
A surprise drop of something that had been talked about incessantly as existing for almost 3 years by the time it got randomly dropped. So it did still feel like there was a bit of a wait time of like every director was like, no, it's coming out. It's definitely coming out.
And now 2 and 3 are still in the same position where the rumor was that it was going to be the trilogy.
All of them.
Again, Nintendo doing Nintendo things.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to January.
Well,
Happy New Year, boys.
We skipped Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, we did.
A potential game of the year.
Well, I feel like I talk about it on the show so fucking much, but
I've got
your household is on its 4th collective playthrough of it.
3rd.
As a household.
What about you?
4th.
No, I played through. We were playing it. I was playing it with my girlfriend for like the start of it when it came out. Played it together for a bit to talk about on the pod. And then I think I went away or something, and she just took over. And then like I'm watching little bits of it, which is kind of unavoidable because it is being played a lot in the house. But then so she's on her 3rd playthrough now. I'm seeing bits and pieces of it all out of order.
Right.
But
this is probably like what it felt like for my parents with The Lion King or something. Just a movie I would rewatch a bunch of times as a kid.
Yeah. I just reinstalled this. I realized that I never really played enough of it. And I think also, having that feeling the other day of like, what are the big games of this year? You know, and not really knowing what I would have in a top 5 almost. So I'm going to go back on this and play this over the next couple of weeks probably.
It's good. It's a fun world to explore, and the combat is really good. The combat
really
is
enjoyed the
basically
combat,
Spider-Man. Like every time like I'll dip in for like a little bit while my girlfriend's playing it, and it is making me sort of go, oh yeah, that Spider-Man game's going to be fun. Like it just reminds me of like the combat of that. I'm like, being in that little combo-y and the zipping around and all
juggling
that
in the
stuff.
air and stuff. Yeah.
You even saying Spider-Man reminded me that that's coming out in like September, October or something.
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's the same day as Mario Wonder.
Oh, what a day!
Fucking hell.
Also in February and Jan was the Last of Us TV show, which we watched and did the Clicker I Barely Know a podcast to recap about.
Yep.
That you can go listen to if you're watching through that series late.
We this is a few weeks ago now, but the Emmy Awards were the nominations were announced.
Yeah.
And it was
27.
that got 27 nominations.
Murray and Offerman up against each other for
guest.
Yeah, for guest. Yeah, guest performer.
Good show.
Yeah, great show.
Really good show.
well done adaptation of that game.
Yep.
And it's made me it's the fact that came out was so popular that PC port came out and wasn't good, and then the multiplayer stuff has gone they've gone so quiet on it.
Yeah.
Really makes you think a bit of like, what's going on at Naughty Dog? Because now would be the time to leap, to capitalize if they could. And so who knows what the progress of the multiplayer thing or of a eventual seemingly inevitable 3 is.
Right.
But I'm certainly...
The show's second season, was it delayed or it's just was slated to come out in 2025?
I think it was never like anything solid. I think that they initially intended to be filming it towards the end of this year sort of thing. But I think that has now been delayed because of the writer's strike and stuff.
Yeah.
So who knows how long that'll be. So there's certainly time for everything to all catch up with each other.
Exactly. Maybe they go, instead of releasing the multiplayer game, this year and it being rushed, we give it another 12 months and, it's fantastic and polished and everything.
Who knows?
Don't know.
Maybe we'll get we've already had the remake of one, but we got a remake in January of Dead Space.
Yeah. First time I'd ever played any of the Dead Space games. Fucking loved it. Was great.
I got to get around to this.
Yeah.
Crazy that Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space remakes came out in the same year. And the Dead Space is so informed by Resident Evil 4,
was
the originals.
Dead Space remake as different from the original as that Resident Evil 4 one was? Or,
I believe... I haven't played the Dead Space remake, partly because I think it's a lot more... closer to one-to-one. I think they put new stuff in there and it's like there's some side missions or something in the remake that weren't in the original.
Yeah. I think I read that, yes, maybe the changes were more like instead of getting in an elevator and having a loading screen, you just opened a door and it was more like streamlining the experience rather than changing it.
There definitely were in the original sort of train stations that you would go to between the different decks of the ship.
That is still in there, but instead of you flash into a loading screen, you just walk around in a little train and get off it again.
Okay. I think it would show you the map of the ship in the original, sort of like Mass Effect 2, where you'd go between the levels of the Normandy.
That may even still be in it now that I think of it. But it was great. It looked fantastic.
Yeah.
The level of detail and we talk about this on a bonus podcast. That is already out.
Yep.
Our Frankenstein making a game out of other games thing. The diegetic UI, the fact that you can see your health depleting on the back of your suit and stuff like that. It's really cool, and it even still felt fresh playing it in 2023. It's not used enough in other games. I don't think.
Totally. Because I played a little bit of it back in the day, but didn't ever finish it or anything, and then did go back and do that 2 or 3 years ago or something. And found the same thing with the original, that it was still pretty, and it's partly because like, oh, what a good game, and also the change in what games are like in the last 15 years is such a flatter line than the 15 years prior to that. You know?
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, good game.
Great game.
Yeah.
I really want to go play more Pizza Tower. I had like one slice and I got, what do you have, 7 left in the box? And
Yeah.
they'd be a little bit cold by now, but I can reheat it.
Oh, reheated
Cold
pizza.
Yeah, fucking hey, that's the best kind.
Cold? I'd reheat over cold generally.
I was
It's
a
a
reheater
mood-based thing.
for the first 34 years of my life.
Whoa.
Just a pizza reheater.
Little baby sitting next to the
Yeah.
microwave reheating the pizza.
That was, we used to have like homemade pizza a lot growing up. Anyway, one time I couldn't be bothered microwaving.
That's how it starts.
Yeah.
I just
That's
got
how every habit forms.
one
Yeah.
slice out of the fridge and was like, oh, this is good.
I've never been. I don't understand when people can go to the effort of like pan frying to reheat a pizza. Some
Oh.
people swear by that sort of thing of like.
We've got an air fryer, and I tell you what, that fucking brings that pizza back to life like nothing else.
Well, that's the microwave of pan frying.
I guess so.
Because I guess microwaving can make it soggy and stuff. That
Yeah.
I understand that, but
Yeah. Anyway,
Great fucking game.
I
Finished it a
didn't.
little while ago. Went back and just kind of tidied up. I hit a wall where to get up to to unlock the last little bit, I had to have a certain amount of money or whatever. I had to go back and like,
Pepperonis.
redo some
Yeah.
old levels and do them a bit better.
my cheese points.
Yeah, I didn't like this game. I played it after you guys
right.
like reviewed it. Like you were so glowing, and I had a crack and I just didn't vibe with it. I didn't like the style.
Right.
And I don't love. I mean, I was never a big Sonic fan growing up, and it really is that similar sort of,
Yeah.
getting the momentum up and dodging, like exactly that sort of gameplay.
You're kind of racing through the levels and climbing up the walls and stuff.
I just was a taste thing. I just didn't enjoy it. Yeah.
Some people don't like pineapple on pizza. Some people have the correct opinion that it's fine.
As long as you have it in your dating profile, then that's
Yeah.
the most important thing.
That's the only thing we can all agree on is that it's extremely interesting to discuss.
No, for me, Scallop Tower is it's an all it's
I love Cake Tower. Okay.
it's this is an all timer for me. I fucking
The
just,
art
I love
style
this so much.
is like right, like if they invented a machine where you can see your dreams. It is
Oh,
exactly
yeah.
the type of thing that you vibe with.
It's that it is that thing where that feeling of I think I said this at the time of sitting down with something and it's like, has the person who made this been following me
Yeah.
and reading my dreams, because everything about this seems so tailor-made for me and what I like.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise, aesthetic wise.
It's
really
snappy
fun.
and silly and fast. And
I
like,
felt jealous of like not liking it. It's like,
Right.
I really wish that this was to my taste, but
it makes sense that it's so specific.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
doing such a certain thing and doing it whole hog that absolutely. If
Yeah,
it's not for
yeah.
you, it's not for you.
I'm waiting for them to announce the port of this to Switch and PlayStation and other stuff, because I think that it needs a wider audience. I think more people will get on board with this once it's more available. Could see it being a thing that really takes off I could see this being a thing where, I'm sure I've said this before on here, if they announce it like in a direct, they do their own, some indies, they like
yes.
make their own little thing of
Yeah.
fucking Pizza Man playing a,
Sure,
Switch in
right.
the, make their own little animated trailer for it.
Yeah. Well, something that took off in a big way that it wasn't similar to you with Pizza Tower, Ben, I think to any of our tastes in particular, unfortunately, because the people who were into this were huge champions of it. Forspoken, no. Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
Just a bit of fun at the start there.
I thought you were really serious. Seriously.
I do want to go back to this and give it a bit more of a chance.
I played through it, I think, a bit longer than you guys did at the time.
Yeah, I
And-
dipped out real quick, honestly.
Right.
Like, yeah.
I was enjoying the gameplay and the rhythm stuff enough to drive through, a fair chunk of it. A few fucking levels.
Yeah,
A
I
few
think
bars.
for me it was the fact that it did come out pretty much the same time as Pizza Tower, and I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
that and just went, this is the thing I'm loving. But yeah, I do want to go back and play because the gameplay I was enjoying.
Right.
And it stays fun. If
Yeah.
you're liking it at the start, you'll like it more and more as it goes on. It adds in new layers and keeps building and like some cool ideas further in, and the platforming is pretty enjoyable. Like I think it's a well-made game. I think just the style was abrasive to our particular specific set of skills.
It was too in your face for me.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
It's really again, same as it's doing something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's right. Like the people who liked it loved it. Like
That was the one where I felt jealous.
Yeah.
Where, because, so much of the conversation, especially at the time, because it was a surprise thing.
Yeah.
Another cool thing of just...
Who was who made it?
It's Tango Gameworks who made Ghostwire Tokyo.
That's right. It was, yeah.
And like
so different,
that
but
cheeky little snail.
Oh, that fucking snail looks pretty cool. Just the way people were into it and like, damn, game of the year already and all that stuff.
Right.
I unfortunately couldn't have that same enjoyment out of my life.
I'm going to give it another go. I think
I'll be hurting other people because of it.
I think going into it with a bit of distance and a bit of like being braced for that style.
Okay.
I may not find it as grating.
Well, good luck trying that with the other one that came out around the same time that people didn't like anywhere near as much.
Yeah.
And, Forspoken.
Hasn't this very quickly been forgotten? This is another one in the...
Forgotten.
Damn.
Or not spoken about at all anymore.
Yeah.
In the same
Zero spoken.
category as Wolong. Just...
Yeah.
They have
Came and went.
DLC coming out for it soon, I think.
I think it's in a different category because no one liked it.
Yeah.
Wolong was like pretty well reviewed from what I remember, but this was like, it's not a well-paced game. It's poorly written. There's nothing about it that's particularly innovative.
And
like,
everything that it's doing...
Magic surfing around was
Yeah.
not like,
It was
everything
kind
it's
of
doing has been
boring.
done
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
somewhere else with a better like
coat of paint.
yeah.
Yeah, a shame. But it also seemed like the writing was pretty on the wall for that game. And then as we got closer and closer to that wall, the writing didn't change.
Yeah.
But you could read it more clearly.
Yeah, it just got bigger. I'm shit.
Yeah, the writing was already huge because we could see it from so far away.
Yeah, true.
So you thought, well, this is as big as it can possibly be if I can see it from this distance.
Right.
But then getting closer and being like, how's it getting bigger?
yeah.
And well, there's one other game, but you've written, Tommy, Stadia RIP. Was that really January of this year?
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit.
Stadia shut
It's
down.
like 20-something of... Yeah.
Well, yeah, rest in peace to a not real one.
Yeah.
It's the people who liked it seemed to say it worked well and that it was like a pretty cool thing, but
They went too early. The cloud
exactly,
stuff is going to be, don't know how long exactly it's going to take. It's like the VR stuff.
Yeah.
Don't know how long it'll take to like fully implement on and have that be the main thing.
Yeah.
It
Especially-
will happen, but they jumped the gun.
in this country too,
Yeah.
with the state of the fucking internet here,
Yeah.
it's just not possible
It's
right
not
now.
feasible, yeah.
So we're in a kind of unique, I mean, not unique, 5 million people, but like this country can't do it yet.
Yeah.
Really. So, but it can download, the internet's good enough to download a Switch game, one that I ended up not playing tons of, but you guys did.
Yeah.
The first game of the year to really get tickling our Pikmin.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem Engage.
It's called Final Fantasy Engage. Yes.
Very early on in the year, yeah. One of the first big one, I think, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loving this, still haven't quite finished it. It's just it's so like segmented into its little chapters that it is kind of an easy one to have on the back burner.
It has a hell of a difficulty spike as well.
It
I
really,
feel like,
it truly does. I
Yeah.
think I did just hit that point
Yeah.
in my last session with it. I'll probably play a bit of this on various flights I'm taking in the next couple of weeks. But not quite getting to the heights of Three Houses for me, but that's an all-timer and still a
Yeah.
fucking Great game.
This, like that, is very much a, damn, I got to go back to that for some reason. Three Houses, I don't think I can't remember actually, but I want to go back to that one of these days.
Right.
Three Houses
as
is the
well.
one to focus on, I reckon. Like,
Yeah.
great story. The, like, choosing a house and getting a completely different playthrough. And this is, a bit more down the line. Like I said, not quite hitting the same heights with its characters and its story, but yeah, the mechanics are good. It's it looks great. It runs really well, and just that system, that core gameplay is just so satisfying.
So that's the first half of the year.
It is.
Yeah.
Tax wise, the year's over.
I've already put mine in.
God damn.
Yeah.
Oh, not me yet. I've been putting it off. But you can only put it off for so long.
That's true.
Anyway, the
Until October.
the
What
rest of the year.
Well, what are your highlights?
Like,
what are your
let's pick,
genuine
like one favorite, right? So far, maybe or something.
Yeah.
A favorite and a main go back to from what we've talked about.
Oh, okay.
I'll since I've laid down that gauntlet.
Yep.
I'll go first. I think Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite game so far. It's a real wonderwall of an answer from some perspectives, but I don't think I've enjoyed a game as much as that one. It doesn't necessarily mean that'll hit number one on like a game of the year list.
No,
at the end
that's
of the
it,
year.
right? Like we'll probably replay stuff. We'll change opinions. So this is just for today, basically.
There's arguments that you can make against that being the best game of the year that I would also maybe consider with myself, talking into the mirror, one voice like this, and then the other voice, a meaner version. And I really want to play more Street Fighter. I was having a lot of fun with it, and I want to like just go full arcade mode
Yep.
and line up my quarters and properly get in there.
Get the special controller, the like arcade.
Oh yes.
I'm gonna get a full cabinet
Yeah.
and just look through that towards my TV.
Be in the cabinet.
Yeah.
I'll get in the cabinet and look
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Fuck
Wreck-It
yeah,
Ralph.
I'll be real.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I reckon that my favorite game of the year so far is probably Resident Evil 4. I don't think I have a single negative thing to say about it. It was such a fun experience, tense, well-paced, looked fantastic, cool story, challenging, genuine challenge at parts.
Yep.
Just a really, really fun video game that I played. And if I could add a second honorable mention, I would say Dredge. It was just like for indies, just a top to bottom, really fun and innovative experience.
Fair. It's a
And-
shame that you can't add an honorable
No,
mention.
Yeah.
no. So strike that from the record. And I think Hogwarts Legacy is probably the game that I feel like I should, of the ones that already have come out, that I should be putting more time
Go back
into
to.
before the end of the year, and I'm looking forward to.
My number one, Tears of the Kingdom, and my go back to Like a Dragon Ishin.
Nice,
He's
very
in and
nice.
out real quick.
Yeah,
While we're here as well, there's more of the year to come. We're only halfway
Yes.
through. Do we want to do the same thing? Maybe pick two each
yep.
of games from the rest of the year that we're looking forward to the most.
I'd
Oh,
Just
sure
off the
thing.
top of your head.
yeah.
I am really looking forward to Pikmin 4, although by the time this is released, that's already out. So
Okay.
technically, I guess that doesn't count.
That could just be like
Strike that from the record.
Mario Brothers Wonder. I'm really, really looking forward to. And then in terms of other stuff, I think it is. I mean, look, at this point in time, it's Pikmin 4 and it's Mario Brothers Wonder.
That's fair.
Yeah, which
both in the
I
future.
saw an article the other day. Some website had done a comparing. This is like going into year 7 of the Switch, like.
Oh,
I saw
And,
that
they, and they
as
did a
well.
thing of like every other Nintendo console at year 7, and like nearly all of them are like, yeah, they were shut down by then.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
basically just the handhelds, right? That was
The
still
handhelds
kind
keep
of
kicking along. So to be getting some such big IPs in the final
Guys,
year of this console.
The Switch is a handheld. and a home console.
Shit, it's a hybrid.
It's
Yeah.
cool that Year 7 of the Switch is good, and the glass half empty approach would be it's weird that there's not a new console yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should have been shut down by now. Similar to Pikmin 4, Baldur's Gate 3, which is
good
out,
pick.
like what, from today it's out in like 5 days or something.
Yeah,
depending
something
on
like
this.
that. 5-6 days.
But like having had that taste of it, I enjoyed it so much, and I'm keen to see the polished full version. There's like more classes, more like races options and shit when it actually launches, so that'll be fun to start a new character in that. And
Yeah.
Starfield, I'm fucking pumped. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be sick. I've even enjoyed the lesser, Bethesda games that have got a bit of criticism on launch, your Fallout 4s and stuff. Like I'm all in on their open world style of game, and I also like No Man's Sky, which has been clearly ripped off.
Yep.
For Starfield. I also like Mario Wonder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
There's a lot.
of big ones coming up.
I want to add Spider-Man to mine, which
You're not
is
allowed to.
fucking annoying that they're out on the same day.
Okay,
That is
well,
crazy,
I'm
yeah.
cause I'm not gonna repeat the 4 choices there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say Spider-Man. So you can't say it.
Great.
Okay.
So take it back.
All right.
But then you
I
can't
don't even.
also claim the ones that we did say officially.
Oh well, then you can have Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all 4 of those. Spider-Man, getting reminded of that. The
Yeah.
first one and Miles Morales were both so much fun.
Yep.
And I forget about them weirdly.
Yeah.
But enjoyed them so much while I was playing them that I am really looking forward to that. And the other one is WarioWare.
Oh,
WarioWare, move it.
Smooth moves.
Move it.
Smooth
moves
moves.
the Wii one.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Move
so
it.
move it.
Move it.
Yeah.
Right.
I fucking love the WarioWare games. They're so much fun. And I'm keen to kind of see out the Switch with the thing that should have been out of the gate.
A
with
launch.
it.
Yeah.
Packing. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think as well as all of the ones you mentioned, those.
I feel like there's something big in November that we've forgotten.
Guy
there's like
Fawkes Day.
Yeah, that's it. The adaptation of Guy
Memorial
Fawkes
Day, ironically,
Yeah.
if we've forgotten that.
I think.
Do you want me to just have a quick
have
scan?
a quick
of-
look
think
because I
there's
feel
one
like there's
other-
like a huge trick we're
There's
missing as
one
well.
other pretty big one I feel like.
Yeah.
All right.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I'll scan down to like what do we got? November.
I feel like
WarioWare,
November.
Persona 5 Tactica,
Yeah.
Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm looking forward to both of them. Maybe that because I think they're both out on the same day.
right. Alan Wake 2, the new Assassin's Creed is October. Forza Motorsport,
Yeah, I've gaslit myself. I think.
Detective Pikachu Returns.
This is a quick way of doing it. Just noises.
I'm looking forward to the Cyberpunk DLC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's I think September. I'm keen for that. Mortal Kombat 1
Oh yeah.
is one we even talked about
Yeah,
before.
fuck. Mortal
recording.
Kombat 1 can replace Spider-Man for me.
And
you can
guess
have
what?
Spider-Man.
Thank you.
Guess what, bitch? Lies of P.
Yeah.
is
Oh,
also
yeah.
September this year. And I'm very keen for having played the demo, but also having played the demo, maybe it shouldn't even count because I kind of already definitely know that I'm gonna like it.
What a year already. What
Yeah.
a year to come.
Oh, bitch! Armored Core 6 as
Oh,
well.
that'll
Another
be a bit
From
fun,
that'll be
Software
a bit of
game.
fun.
So bloody hell, there's heaps of games coming up
They really are.
that I'm excited for.
Well, you'll hear about it all here on the Filthy Casuals podcast.
Will I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I will.
in a sense.
Yeah, totally. Sure, I'll
You'll
be
hear
listening.
2/3 of it.
Yep.
And then you'll hear the other third of it kind of twice at like a different
Yeah.
timbre to how everyone else
Yeah.
hears it.
And if I yell, maybe I'll hear the echo.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah. Well, that's going to do us for another episode. Thank you for joining us, everyone. filthycasuals.com.au for the links to all the stuff that we have going on. We got the Patreon bonus episode every week.
Oh,
We're in the
man.
midst of Giant July.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of bonus content up on there. There's a commentary track for the film The Wizard. There's a video of us playing through Bloodshaw.
Oh, yeah. So
There
fun.
is a video of us playing a bunch of online games with some patrons. And there is a premium episode where we try and Frankenstein the perfect game using parts from other games.
And all the weekly stuff we do all the time as well.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
never mentioned that.
New release movies, TV shows we're watching, all of the fun stuff that
Yeah.
we
hot
enjoy.
shit. They're calling it.
Thanks very much for listening. We'll see you next time, as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals.
Pretty good year. That's the first half of year.
Very good. good stuff.
Yeah, it's not bad. 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.